All right, so our second unit we are starting, it is called equations and inequalities. And 2.1 we're looking at today, and hopefully we'll get to 2.2 as well. 2.1 is solving type 1 equations, and then type 2 equations is 2.2. So when we are solving equations, algebraically, we're basically trying to solve for the variable. The variable is the letter in the equation. So when we're solving for our variable, we have to use the opposite operation that is displayed. All right. So for example, addition would be the opposite of subtraction. Multiplication is the opposite of division, and vice versa. Um, Subtraction is the opposite of addition, and division is the opposite of multiplication. So there's, I think we go to four kinds of, no, 5 types of equations. We go to 2.5, which is solving ratio type equations. And then we'll get into inequalities and graphing. So today, with the type 1 equations, we're going to look at 4 kinds of type 1 equations, and then we'll go through these examples as well on how each type is solved. So the first one is an addition. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. So when we're doing these, it's really important to be showing your steps. So the opposite of addition is subtraction, so we're going to subtract 6. And if you remember, you can draw this dashed line through the equal sign, and then this side is your left-hand side, and this side is your right-hand side. All right, so here, because we're subtracting 6 on the left-hand side, we do have to subtract 6 on the right-hand side as well. All right, now 6 minus 6, that leaves me with 0. So we have now x is equal to, and then 8 minus 6, which is 2. So our answer is solved. We've gotten that x is equal to 2, but you can do a quick check, and how you do a check is by substitution. You take your answer, x equals 2, put it into the original equation. So it becomes 2 plus 6 is equal to 8. The left-hand side has to equal to the right-hand side for this to be true. And 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 is equal to 8, so therefore our check is complete. All right, and on the right side is an example of a subtraction type equation. So here we have x minus 8 is equal to 4. So opposite of subtracting is adding. So we're going to add 8 to both sides. Minus 8 plus 8, that leaves us with 0. So we're left with x on the left-hand side, and then 4 plus 8 is 12. And again, you can do that check where you do the substitution. So x is equal to 12, substitute it into the equation there. So 12 minus 8 equals 4. 12 minus 8 does equal 4. So our equation 4 is equal to 4 is correct. Our first example here is a multiplication. So remember here, this 5x, that means 5 times x. So we don't use x as multiplication in algebra. The x is representing a variable. All right, so opposite of 5 times x is to divide by 5. So I'm just showing like this. This means division. So 5x divided by 5, 5 divided by 5 leaves you with 1, or 1x. So we'll just leave it as x. And it is negative 35 divided by 5, so make sure you answer that as a negative 7. All right, so that's a multiplication type. Next, we have this division type. And we have looked at this. You can use cross multiplication like I've shown you, or you can use the opposite of division, which is multiplication. We are going to look at more ratio type equations. So in this case, because we have x divided by 3, we can multiply by 3. And I'm just showing it like this. Multiply by 3 on both sides. So now this becomes 3x. When you multiply this, it becomes 3x over 3. Just showing you that step. And this becomes negative 24. 3x divided by 3, so we're just left with x. So x is equal to negative 24. All right, there's another one here. We have negative 3x over 4 is equal to 12. And I'll show you this one using the cross multiplication method. So we have negative 3x over 4, and it's basically equal to 12, and we can say 12 over 1. So cross multiplication, so just a reminder, when you're doing cross multiplication, you're multiplying these two together, and you're going to multiply these two together. And so multiplying negative 3x times 1, that just gives me negative 3x is equal to 12 times 4, which is 48. All right, so now we're left with negative 3x is equal to 48. And now we're going to divide by negative 3 on both sides to get x. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 is just the 1. So we're left with x is equal to negative 16. All right, and then just the note here at the bottom. Note that in each case above, we remove the number beside the letter by using the opposite operation. But when we have a division type question, we do this special type of opposite operation, which is called cross multiplication, which we just did here. So 7x is equal to negative 3 over 4. So we're going to cross multiply. It's going to take 7x times the 4, which gives me a 28x. And it's equal to, so we have negative 3, you'd multiply by 1. So negative 3 times 1, which is just negative 3. All right, and now you have 28x, which is being multiplied together. So the opposite of that is division. So we divide by 28. Divide by 28 on both sides. And that would leave me, you could just leave it as x is equal to negative 3 over 28, because we can't reduce that. You could have put it in fraction, you could have put it into decimal form, but I believe it just continues, and the question doesn't ask you to round it, so we would just leave it as negative 3 over 28. All right, so we're going over this one here. We have x minus 9 is equal to negative 30. So it's minus 9, so the opposite of that is to add 9. So we're adding 9 to both sides. So negative 9 plus 9, that's 0. So we're left with x. So x is equal to negative 21. Okay, remember it's negative 30 plus 9 to give us the negative 21. Here we have negative 5x equals 20. This means negative 5 is being multiplied to x. So we have to divide by negative 5. Divide by negative 5 on both sides. And that will leave me with x is equal to negative 4. All right, so we're just looking at x over 3 is equal to negative 30. We need to solve for x. So using the cross multiplication method, firstly, it's negative 30. You can make it over 1. And then we're going to use our cross multiplication method. So we take x, and you're going to multiply it by the 1, which leaves me with x times 1, which is just x. We put that on our left side. And then we have 3 times negative 30, which is negative 90. All right, and for this question, that's it. We are finished. It's x equals to negative 90. We've solved for x. Okay, so our second example here, we have 5x over 8 is equal to negative 9. So just if you're using the cross multiplication method, just remember it's negative 9 over 1. And so what you're going to do is you're going to cross multiply. So you're going to take 5x and you're going to multiply it by 1. And you're going to put that on your left-hand side. Then you're going to take your 8 and you're going to multiply it by negative 9 and then put that on your right-hand side. So it would look something like 5x times 1, which is just 5x. And then it's equal to 8 times negative 9, which is negative 72. All right, and now you would continue now and solve for x. So let's finish this off. So we had 5x. So the opposite of 5 times x, we have to divide. So we're dividing on both sides. So we're left with x is equal to negative 72 over 5. And you can put it into decimal. This one becomes negative 14.4. So in decimal, it's negative 14.4. Okay, so this type of question, we will see this when we get to 2.5 and we're solving ratio type questions, ratio type equations. But since we're focusing right now on cross multiplication, let's just try this one. You can go ahead and try in your notebook if you want. So here, cross multiplying, we're going to take our x and you're going to multiply it with 4. And you're going to place that on your left-hand side. So x times 4, that's 4x. And then on the right-hand side, we're going to take 3, and you're going to multiply it by negative 7, which is negative 21. So for that one, it looks like that. And then you would go ahead and continue to solve for x. So just finishing up this question then, we have 4x equals negative 21, so you're dividing by 4 on both sides. That leaves me with x is equal to negative 21 over 4. And if you chose to put that into decimal, it's negative 5.25.